Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thanks for joining us today for our live training on the warehouse management add-on. I'm Laura, not Katana Marketing, but from Katana's product marketing team, and I will be your moderator today. So we have around 45 minutes packed with some practical guidance, live demo, and tips as we go. And before we dive in and have people still joining, I am going to launch a quick poll, just one question, no worries, to understand where you currently are, what are the main challenges in terms of your warehouse and warehouse management. And while you're voting, let me give you an overview of our agenda today. So first, what we'll do, we'll cover what the add-on includes. Then the main focus will be on the demo of storage bins, warehouse app for packing, receiving, and scanning, and share some best practices. And we also have saved some time for your questions. So as we go through the session today, please feel free to drop any questions in the Q&A box. And we'll go through as many as we can. In case there will be a lot of questions coming in, we will still make sure to get back to you via email. But before we really start, let me introduce our hosts today. We have Dago here, our product manager here in Katana. And we have Mark, customer success manager. So hopefully some of you have already met him. But that's it for now from my side. Again, drop your questions as we go, and I will hand it over to Dago.
Yes, thank you, Laura, and welcome from me as well to this webinar or training, sorry. And I am Dago, as Laura mentioned. I'm product manager here in Katana and taking care of any past and also in the future improvements of functionality. But enough of me. I would want to talk about the warehouse management add-on and why it exists in Katana at the first place. So if you look at the inventory, then usually inventory you need to focus on the numbers, what is there, what is the cost, basically to identify your system of records properly. However, if we think about how these numbers get to be there, then you need warehouse operations. You need to find items. You need to make sure that your people who are putting items into the inventory and taking the items away from inventory know exactly where to put them and where to take them from. And also, you would need a team who is working in that inventory to be as self-sufficient as possible. That's why if they have the inventory and their tasks in their pocket, it's the best possible scenario they can have in order to actually make sure that all of your inventory levels stay correct. Hence, the why about the warehouse management add-on in general. And what we have designed the warehouse management to do is that you would have the bin locations that can identify where your items are. We would also have the warehouse app itself that your warehouse operational team can carry around, and make sure that they do not have the outdated paper format, or paper format is not outdated when you write it, but it gets outdated very quickly. However, any form of app that is online does not get outdated so quickly, and they would have their tasks with them at any given time. Whatever changes in your workflow or in your order setup, they would still have the latest up-to-date information. And however, yes, the apps, they would definitely require you to have proper Wi-Fi coverage in your warehouse in order to make sure that these latest updates always get to your warehouse team. And without further ado, oh, yeah, I forgot that. One point as well was about barcodes. This is also important part of identifying items in your inventory. So whenever you have found an item, you can either read what the item is and what it's supposed to be, or you can actually scan it and identify it in a much quicker setup. And this way, making sure that you know where your items are, you know that they are the right items, and your team will be self-sufficient, serving all your inventory needs, and making sure that your data is always correct and you do not have delays caused by your inventory. But that is something that we will go a little bit more in depth with the next part of our session. And for that, I will hand the word over to Mark. But just as Mark is setting up his presentation, then we are putting the next poly question up as well. So you can answer to these questions as where are you with your warehouse management add-on? And please feel free to answer these questions as well. And I will hand word over to Mark now. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Tago. Alrighty, so I'll just jump in here. Okay, so we should be seeing our Katana UI now. So with the warehouse app, there are a few areas within the Katana settings that we're going to want to look at when we're first setting up the warehouse app. So if we jump over to our settings to begin, first place I usually like to start is the warehouse app subsection, just personally for myself, because I set this up quite a while ago. So I don't come here very often because it's sort of a set and forget. But this is where you would first come to choose how you want to enable, whether you want pick and pack orders to be flowing to that mobile app or receiving purchase orders as a function, because those are the two functions that live within the warehouse app itself. So typically as a good starting point, you can kind of dictate what you want to flow to that app in your settings under the warehouse app section to enable it. Moving along from there, if we want to look at bin locations as another piece of the add-on that Tago mentioned, we can find that under locations within our settings. So in Katana, as you might be familiar with today, you can set up multiple locations, and depending on your plan, depends on how many locations you can implement. But then we have another tab here that is storage bins. And then storage bins by location, what we can do is start to build out whatever naming convention makes sense to our personal structure, our personal warehouse. For myself, for simplicity, I went with a simple setup of rack 1 shelf XYZ and rack 2 shelf XYZ, and so on and so forth. When you've set up this structure, this will then make it available at the product or material level to be able to then allocate that particular SKU to that particular location, which we'll see the downward effects on when we get into the application itself. But locations, storage bins, this is where you can start to build out that structure for yourself and that organization for how you want your warehouse to be structured and where you want those items to live ultimately. Moving along to the next piece, we have barcodes. So in Katana, if you don't have barcodes currently enabled, you're not going to see the available barcode fields at a product or material level. But as soon as we check any of these toggles, it's going to start to make those available. So depending on your personal use case, whether you do want to use supplier barcodes, internal barcodes, or registered barcodes for products you might be sending out, you can kind of pick and choose which you want to use. In this case, I have all of them checked off, also inclusive of our functionality to be able to generate barcodes automatically for those internal barcodes. So you don't have to come up with your own barcode structure. We can generate that automatically on those products for you as well. So that's barcodes in a nutshell, bins, all your settings, locations, all that fun stuff. So if we jump along to a product next, just to show an example, let's go with this guy. So now that we have those barcodes enabled and that bin location set up in place, we can take a look at how we access that data and where we input that. So we'll see you might not have this in your current setup, again, if you don't have it checked off and enabled, but we now have the fields for registered barcode, internal barcode, and then I'll touch upon the supplier barcode momentarily. But these are just simple text boxes. In my case, I grabbed a random box off of a shelf in my office here, and I input the UPC code for simplicity for scanning. But you can structure this however you want. And again, that internal barcode can be automatically generated. But again, we'll notice the supplier barcode is actually going to live under the supply details tab on a product or material, depending on if you buy that product versus making it. And then we can have that supplier item code living in there as well. On the topic of uploading things like barcodes, you can do this a little bit more en masse, getting into import templates as well, if you don't want to do it one by one within the product cards themselves. And that can also be found again in the settings tab. And then if we're jumping over to bin locations, you'll notice this little icon here for a bin. And this is where we can, again, dictate by location for this product where it lives in Katana. So in my case, it's that rack 1 shelf 3 naming convention that I've set up for myself. And that's all data that's going to pass to the application itself. Now, if we want to move along to operators and the actual app, in Katana, in the top right, we can come down to our team. Within the team, we have different types of Katana access or users. So you have your regular user, that's your day-to-day full-blown Katana usage. But then we also have operators. So in this case, we're going to be talking about warehouse operators today. And warehouse operators, we can come in here, we can create a new warehouse operator, we can name them, we can input a unique code for them for when they log in. Or in my case here, I've got Ford Prefect and his unique code that I've already set up for him. So we can come in, we could print this QR code, we can set it up somewhere in the warehouse or in multiple locations of the warehouse so that when Ford comes in every day, he scans that QR code, inputs his unique code to log into his instance of Katana, which will look something like this. Now, in this application, again, you have those two functions for yourself. There's the pick and pack, and there's the receiving flow. So if we want to start with receiving, this will be our purchase order flow. So we can come into any of these purchase orders, let's say PO39 here. When we click in, we can see what is exactly on that purchase order. We're seeing that bin location structure allocated there for it. We can click in and we can start the task for receiving that purchase order. Now, this is where we get a few options on how we actually want to receive the purchase order. You'll notice this little camera icon here. We can utilize the smart device's camera to scan that barcode, so that supplier item code that we've set to a product. I'm not going to do that today because it's just going to show you my face with my webcam here. So for my purposes today, I'll do it manually, but obviously if we're using barcodes, we want to get into the accuracy of verification and verifying what we're actually scanning, and that's where you would leverage that camera and those barcodes. But in my case, again, I can just click in here. I can once again see where it's going, but I can also click in here and I can either manually type in what we're receiving, or I can go through and physically count as I'm counting along with it. But in my cases here, I'm just going to input the 80. And we can go ahead and we can receive this bottle and complete. So now that that task is complete, that operator is going to have the next function, which is putting that product away. Where does it go? Where does it live? And that again comes down to those bin locations. So we can come back into our completed tasks. We can open up that same PO that we just received and we can verify where it's meant to live. So that in this case, Ford can go through that list, take that bottle to, apologies, take that bottle to rack 1, shelf number 2, and put it away accordingly. Okay, so that is POs in a nutshell there. So if we want to move on next to pick and pack, I'm going to jump back to my main Katana instance for a moment onto the cell list. So in order to have an order allocated and sent to the application for your operator to pick and pack that order, we need to designate that it is ready for packing. So as a controlling function in Katana, you're not just going to get every single order flooding to that application. We want to have a level of control to be able to go in and designate what we want to have in that app to our operators for what needs to be picked. And for that, we're just simply going to go into our delivery status and either pack all or pack some. So in this case, I'll pack all. And that's going to shift it into a ready for packing status. So we're now going to be able to go back into our application. We should be able to see order number 1004 here from Shopify. So if we come into our pick and pack, 1004 from Shopify, and now we can see again, similar to the purchase order, we're seeing that designation of where that item lives. So if we want to start this order, we're verifying how many pieces we're going to pick. We've got the SKU. We can click in here and we can start that task. Now, again, similar to purchase orders, again, same camera structure. You can scan it. Or in this case, again, I'm just going to manually confirm. Now, it's a little different on this screen, very similar to purchase orders, but a couple little things that are different, mainly the barcode. So again, this is pulling that barcode that I have set up for this product. So if you want to do a manual verification, verify the barcode to what the application is saying. If you aren't scanning, you can still do that in a manual verification. Or again, in this case, I can just come in here and either type a 1 or I can add +1 for this individual unit that was ordered. And then from there, I can come in and I can confirm everything's picked and packed and ready to go and complete that order. Now that that order is effectively in a pack status for it, we can then move on to any other external applications outside of Katana for things like rate shopping for labels, purchasing, any automations we have set up there to ultimately complete that order, and then push any fulfillment updates up to our e-commerce cart or whatever we have connected in that case for our other purposes outside of Katana. That is more or less the warehouse app in a nutshell. And my demo today. So I'll pass it back along to Laura if you want to jump back into the slideshow.
One second. Alrighty, here we go.
All right, so a couple of things as far as best practices when we're first looking to get this set up or get this running. Obviously, if you have a large number of SKUs, maybe start with a small subsection of some of your higher moving SKUs. We want to start building that muscle memory with our team of best practices and how to use this. So rather than going through the full list of all of your products and everything, you can kind of start small and just make sure that logically everything makes sense as you're going. Scanning should be a habit. So if we're going through the effort of scanning or setting up barcodes and setting up that accuracy, build that habit within your team to make sure they're using it so you have that scanning accuracy and we're not, quote unquote, pencil whipping going through as we're doing our picking flow. It's there for a reason as an extra level of security and ensuring you're getting the right items picked and packed and you're not mispicking things for your customers. Bins, as we're going through and setting up our bins, things change. Certain SKUs are going to become more popular or come in maybe seasonality. keep on top of those bin locations, maybe change the structure of those bin locations or move things around the warehouse and reset where bins are allocated. So that if you have some of those higher moving SKUs with seasonality, that you're setting up your warehouse for success and that speed to be able to go through that picking flow. And then ultimately, again, it's a muscle memory. Give the team some time to breathe and learn a new process. If they're used to paper picking, they're not going to necessarily be used to going through this app. Give them some time to really get to know it, get to learn all the ins and outs of it, and get used to it as their day-to-day flow when they're potentially used to, again, just waiting for that stack of paper to go and walk around and manually verify everything. So it takes some time to really get into the weeds and get things rolling and work out any of the wrinkles that may exist there. And then on that topic, just some general insights that we've pulled. We have a number of customers utilizing this today, and this is a prime example of kind of that exact last point that I made on giving people time to get used to the application and get used to that new workflow that you're setting for yourself. So in this particular instance, we can see we have a few metrics we're looking at here, but if we start in the bottom left there, sales orders delivered late is a really great metric to look at for potential warehouse inefficiencies when things are delayed getting out the door. So by adapting this flow and not relying on paper pick lists, maybe you have an office administrator that's printing these things out and you're bringing it down to the warehouse because you don't actually have a computer terminal even in the warehouse to work with. This helps speed things up and get you that greater accuracy, get those orders out the door again a little bit faster. So if we're looking here at a customer example, we can see sales order delivered late. Yeah, there were a couple of spikes as they were still getting used to things, but it really trailed off and there were a few minor incidents of a single order being considered late. That might not even be in relation to the warehouse itself. It could also just be maybe a product delay or supplier delays bringing in a product, potentially if it's a reseller scenario. But we can kind of see some of those growing pains of adapting a new process. We can see that rise on the right-hand side, correlating between the pick and pack tasks that they're going through, as well as those sales orders being delivered on time. And obviously, as they're doing more in the app and moving away from those older flows and paper pick lists, they're starting to see that greater efficiency and those orders getting out the door on time and ultimately leading to a better end customer experience because they're getting the right products at the right time when they're expecting them. Perfect.
Alrighty, to my favorite part, Q&A. Seeing some questions coming in, please drop anything you have in mind and we'll answer these live. But before we go to your questions, I want to come back to something, and that was the first question that we asked from you about the biggest warehouse challenge you're currently having. And almost half of you said that the biggest one is no real-time visibility. The second one coming very close, it was finding items and wasted search time. So question to you, Mark and Dago, to get that visibility, what's the one thing that you would tell these customers who are struggling with this right now?
I would say that Mark actually covered this with the best practices because these are actually exactly these steps that you wanna take. You wanna have your team trained. You wanna have your bin locations set up in a most meaningful way. That may mean that you need to set and reset as you learn and do it again. You would want to have your barcodes set up in a meaningful way and exactly the habit of using them rather than having them in the system. Make sure that your warehouse team is really using them.
Anything you want to add, Mark?
No, really just echoing, it's that trial and error of making sure that you're understanding what works for your warehouse as far as a flow perspective. And again, that may change over time and with seasonality. And as you're updating your catalog and adding new products to your catalog, it's going to be a growing path and changes to come as you're making those adjustments.
Great, thanks, guys. And from the second questions, learned that majority haven't really started the setup. So what's the one thing that customers could do, for example, this week to get started with using or implementing the warehouse management add-on?
I would say that one thing that they can get doing is start actually doing it. It's something that I would say that it's so easy to be a little bit intimidated by new things and thinking that I may get things wrong. No, we have taken care of it so that if something goes wrong, you can correct it, and also we will support you on the way. So getting started is the most important thing here. Don't be afraid.
Yes, and you have your customer success manager as well, so don't hesitate to reach out to them, and I'll make sure also to send you some helpful resources. I have some interactive tutorials, video guides, other resources that I will share with you with a follow-up email with the webinar recording. But now let's finally, yeah.
Maybe one point still I would want to emphasize is that it may also feel that I don't want to invest that time into the setting up everything and doing it, maybe not immediately seeing the impact of it. Investing the time now will have the return of investment quite soon, and it's going to continue paying off afterwards.
Agreed. Alrighty, let's take some questions now. And again, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box as we go. But first one, may have missed how to log into the Warehouse app. It's asking to scan a QR code to log in, but my account isn't showing an option for QR code in the laptop browser. Mark, can you take over the screen share and go through that one again in product?
Let's jump back across here. Okay. I apologize. Sometimes I speak a little too quickly. So if I rush through any of that, I do apologize. So in Katana, we want to come up to our initials and we want to go to our team setting. And under team setting, you're going to get this view where you're going to have your owner admin login, which is me in this case. I have my users, which again are people who can control regular old Katana. But then we also want to be able to set up, in this case, a warehouse operator. So you're going to want to do add a team member and either, sorry, a great time for that. Okay, add a team member, and we want to add a warehouse operator. This is where you could add yourself if you're already a user also as an operator and set up your own unique code. And then what you're looking for is just clicking on that warehouse operator, and you can either scan the QR code from this team view or more realistically in a warehouse setting, this is where you would print off that QR code and maybe put it up at the packing station or wherever you need it to be for your team to be able to go and start their day, scan that QR code, use their unique login for that to get access to. So I hope that answered that for you. If you're not seeing the ability to make or add a warehouse operator, it could be due to your access level or your user permissions. So you would need to speak to the owner admin on your account to get them to allow you to be able to create operators in Katana, because it may just be tied to that owner admin login status if you're not seeing that.
Thanks, Mark. Alrighty, next one. How do you handle multiple items in one location or multiple locations for one item?
Yeah. I was just trying it out before I answer, just in case. But yeah, when you want to have multiple items in one pin location, then you can just assign the same pin location to the multiple items, and you can store in one. You can have a large shelf. You can store many different things there. But the other half of the question about the multiple locations for one item, this is something that you can store items in different locations, but and different Katana locations can have their own bin locations, but you cannot store one item in one warehouse location in multiple locations, in multiple bin locations at this point.
Thank you, Dago. Next one around scanners and tech. Can you use an iPhone or iPad rather than a physical barcode scanner to scan UPCs?
I would say that this is a rather flexible way. There are flexible ways of doing it. So you can have your iPhone or iPad with its camera to have to scan the barcodes. However, you can have also the smart scanner, like the I don't remember the model name, but the
Zebra something.
yeah, Zebra something smartphone with a 2D scanner attached to it. So this is something that works, I would say, really well with the warehouse app because in that way you can scan barcodes in very different conditions. So one struggle that may be with the phone camera, although nowadays cameras are really good, and I am struggling to find the scenarios where it cannot scan anymore. But the dedicated scanners attached to the Zebra smart scanner, they would work in the pitch black dark. That's something that the phone camera just cannot do.
Mm.
But you can also have these Bluetooth or USB scanners connected to your phone or tablet, and you can use these scanners as well. So it doesn't have one right way of doing it. I would say it you will find the best way of doing it with practice as well. And we can advise different ways how to do it.
Alrighty, thank you, Dago. Then around types of barcodes and adding barcodes. If I want to use manufacturer barcodes to not reinvent the wheel, what's the quickest, easiest way to add them to the system?
I would still say that if you want to use the manufacturer barcodes, the quickest way is to import them. Have them in your Excel table, making sure they are there as text, as the Excel will require it to be a text field due to the Excel doing its magic on numbers. If your number starts with zeros, for example, then it will delete this. So that's why it needs to be text. And also, when you want it to be the barcodes to be unique to a specific item variant, you would need to import them as internal barcodes. But for that, you need to switch off the internal barcode auto generation. So this is the only way you can actually have them, the guaranteed uniqueness to these codes. You can always use them as registered barcodes, and if you make sure that they are unique by yourself, so don't hesitate on using any other, but with internal barcodes, we make sure that they are unique in your system.
Mm-hmm. And there's simple formulas in Excel to make sure that you avoid duplicates if needed. And Mark, can you go quickly to the data import templates where you can find, yeah. So once you have the barcodes enabled, then the templates, if you download data, you will have that barcode column as well, so you can upload them in bulk to Katana.
Yeah, and I did that a little quickly, sorry. So it's settings, data import, and then if we scroll down, you will find your update existing products or materials import templates. And once those barcodes are enabled in the settings, like Laura said, it'll show up in that export for you to be able to manipulate that data.
Nice. Thanks, Mark and Tago. Then the next one, also around barcodes, please confirm there are both shipping and receiving barcodes which can be scanned via the same app.
There are both shipping and receiving.
So I think that might be in relation to supplier item codes for what's coming in on a purchase order, as well as
Registered.
the internal or registered barcode that's going out.
When you do scanning, then any of them, in some scenarios, we do not use the supplier item code. I think it was for some sales scenarios, but usually when you scan a barcode which is attached to an item, then we don't differentiate it. Is it now supplier code? Is it internal code? Is it something that is for the sales? We would recognize the item. And it has all these barcodes attached to it. So whichever you scan will be recognized as this item.
Yep, via the warehouse app then.
Yes.
As well. Thank you. Does Katana accept the GS1128 barcodes?
Yeah, I suppose it's GS1 128 rather than 1100.
Yeah, GS1 yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Just read
No,
it as it
it's
was.
just as it's written. But yes, Katana does, and I would say that back then when we developed barcodes in Katana, it was our role model, or it was the canvas we built this functionality on top of. But yeah, we do accept all sorts of barcode formats.
Nice, thanks. Now we have a which seems to be question around production. How do you track the consumption of materials across a several-day production with daily startup and shutdown? That's probably the best one for you, Dago.
Uh, I must say that I'm struggling a little bit to fully understand the question. So I think we need to get back to this question after this training session, and we will get in touch
Yes.
to you.
Yep. Let's properly discuss it and find solutions. Alrighty. There's a question that we have items that need to be kept separated by lot number. Different lot numbers cannot go to the same order. I don't see yet where to enter lot numbers. So around tracking batches. And I assume that's for the warehouse app for both receiving and packing.
I would say that this is also more of a question of our traceability topic, that where the lot numbers would actually go, because the warehouse app would give you the actual lot numbers or batch numbers, whichever way you would call them, would give these to you, but so that you do not really need to mix them, but you would need to control what is assigned to each order in order to actually for the operator to see and not mix up the lots.
Mm-hmm. And there's also an option for the operator to select lot number as well that they packed or received, right?
So
Mm-hmm.
in that sense, if you want to guarantee that operator is only using one single batch in every order, this is a training topic probably as much as assigning the right numbers there.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Then different team members have different key roles from creating orders to actual final shipping. And we get future training on specific actions. I would, yeah, that's a really good feedback to our future sessions. And the good news is that we are going to continue with the live training session. So in the meantime, we can share some resources with you. Then again, question around bin locations. When do you foresee the capability for singular products living in multiple bins to go live?
I am currently unable to disclose any of the plans in that area. Yeah, that's all I can say about that at this point of time.
Thanks, Dago. And when doing an inventory count in the warehouse, would the items in the sales order or work order need to be fulfilled and billed to get a proper count? So items on open orders.
I must say that this, brutally honest with you, this functionality with stock count is quite a long time has been there. So I have forgotten the exact way we made sure that you don't have to have everything shipped and billed and closed. But I know that we made sure that you don't necessarily have to have things shipped and billed and closed. But what we have suggested always to do is halt your other operations. So don't do fulfillments, packing, picking, closing, manufacturing. Take the count in a calm time and make sure it will be exactly done when not much else happens around it. And this has been the industry best practice actually. But we can also come back to you with actual questions. How do we make sure that this you get protected with your actual orders?
Yep. I'll make sure to include it actually in the follow-up email as well on doing cycle counts or stock takes with Katana. Alrighty, so that concludes our Q&A, and we are running up on our time as well. I'll quickly take over the screen share for a moment to first thank you all for joining us today. As I mentioned before, please feel free to reach out to your success manager or our support team via chat. When you log into Katana, you can see the chat bubble there. Don't hesitate to contact the team. We will be sending you the webinar recording very soon. And as mentioned before, a few helpful resources, including interactive tutorials, videos, on stock takes as well. And before you go on with your day, please help us to make the future sessions better. Really appreciate the training topic that was shared before. So if you have anything else in mind, please make sure to share them and how we can improve these sessions to be sure they're valuable for you. So when the webinar ends, you will be prompted a survey as well. And if you don't have time right now, it will be in the email as well for you to share your thoughts. Any last words, Doggo, Mark?
No more than thank you very much for joining. It was fun having you all here, and yeah, cheers from me.
Yeah, thank you very much. And for anyone that's in sort of my grouping for the customers that I work with, looking forward to connecting soon and maybe chatting more about this on more of a one-to-one basis with you as needed. Or likewise for the rest of you with your respective success manager.
Thanks, Mark and Doggo. And we're here to help you. So again, don't hesitate to reach out. And that's it for today. I hope you have great rest of your day. And thanks again for joining. Bye, everyone.